looks like we have Felix on the line from Texas. Western ritual magic is real and has an effect on the world. That sounds amazing. Let's dig in. Felix, you're on with Richard and Brian. How's it going? And what do you got for us?
It's going well, gentlemen. I hope your evening's going well as well. Well, I just kind of wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about what Western ritual magic is and how it works in a sense, and how it kind of throws some things into some interesting questions once you get there. For example, I guess we should probably start off with what Western ritual magic is. And Western ritual magic, really you can trace back more towards Egypt, and obviously from Egypt you can trace things back to Mesopotamia. But it's the idea of ritual creating a ritual will cause an effect that the ritual does not directly cause. Like, you know, if the ritual is pouring water into a cup, to create the effect is not pouring water in a cup. When I say that, like, do you follow me so far?
Yeah, it's I know what rituals are. Yeah, you're symbolically doing something to cause an effect in the real world. Yeah, pouring the water in a cup might make somebody pee their pants or something. I don't know, but yeah.
Well, I guess if you wanted to perform a ritual like that, you could. How it generally works is your ritual is designed to get you into sort of almost a hypnotic or suggestible state. And by doing that, it allows you to access the things that are, for lack of a better term, unseen. I'm not a theist, and I don't have to be a theist to practice ritual magic. It's not required. It's not part of it. You don't have to worship an entity. What you are doing is...
Can I just ask you to stop just 1 second? I just want to...
Sure thing.
I'm with you to a certain point. I can fully accept that getting yourself into a state or doing something ritualistically can get you into a zone or a mood where you can be positively influenced or negatively influenced, depending what it is psychologically, by that thing. How do we get there from there to magic? And what are you specifically meaning by magic?
Okay, well, let's define magic first before we get to how we get there. Magic is an effect that was not caused by direct action.
Using the metaphysical to interact with the physical world?
Yes, using the metaphysical to interact with the world would be a succinct description of it.
Okay. Sounds pretty testable, though, huh?
It is testable in some ways, but it's not testable in other ways, because you can't be skeptical and make it work.
Why not?
Because if you're skeptical, then you're not getting yourself into that hypnotic state.
Why not?
Because you can't be skeptical while you're hypnotized. I mean,
I can remain skeptical when I'm in deep meditation.
Pardon?
I can remain skeptical when I'm in a deep meditative state. I can suspend the attributes of the kind of physical world around me to get the feelings and of things and still remain skeptical. That is a huge part of meditation. Actually asking yourself things and delving into those questions to a really subtle level. Yep. So I disagree there.
Meditation is not self-hypnosis, though.
Sorry?
I don't mean to interrupt. But meditation is not self-hypnosis.
But they're very similar.
They're two different. Well, they're similar, but I mean, a rock is similar to a building, but a rock is not a building.
So let's walk through how they're different then, and let's walk through how they're different,
Okay.
and let's walk through what the differences are, which enable this to take place, and how skepticism has to be suspended in hypnotism, where it doesn't in meditation. Walk me through the process,
All
please,
right.
if you don't mind.
Well, hypnotism is letting down your mental defenses. You will remove a lot of sense of your preconceptions, environments, and follow suggestions because you have let down your defenses. You have let down your skepticism about this person's intentions or whether or not hypnotism is real, etc.
I just want to ask a quick clarifying question, and then I'll let you continue. Are we talking self-hypnosis or specifically hypnosis on someone else?
Generally, for ritual magic, for willing participants, it's going to be self-hypnosis.
Let me just step in here, because aren't both of these, is it delta bit brainwaves, hypnosis and meditation? You kind of slip into that stage where say your delta brainwaves are functioning kind of the same brain state, if you will.
Not being a neurosurgeon or a brain scientist in any way, I'm just going to have to say, I'm not really sure how you quantify those different states, and whether or not looking at someone who is hypnotized versus someone who is meditating is going to look different on like a brain scan.
I'm sorry, it was gamma. Gamma is the one. Yeah, but we'll continue on because I want to know more about how we conclude that when we do magic, and we've talked about this on the show several times. Magic is one of our favorite things to talk about because it's so, prevalent. But how do we differentiate what's magical from what was, already going to happen? And how do we differentiate between priming your brain to experience the things that are happening as the results of our actions, as opposed to just what's happening in the natural world?
Well, I don't see the necessity of doing that as a practitioner.
Okay.
It's sort of like saying, what's the difference between, fate and free will, and can you prove that you have either? It's kind of one of those questions that's not relevant to making it work.
Okay.
For example, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I really don't have, there's not much, I get what you're saying, that the principles of, when I used to hang around with New Age people, the principles was that if you let doubt slip in that it's going to work, it doesn't work, and things like that. So you wouldn't, if as a practitioner, you wouldn't want to allow yourself to be skeptical of the ritual or whatever magic you were working. Am I right there? Is that your way of thinking about it?
Very much correct. That's very much correct.
We do have a super chat real quick while we got a second from Secular Rarity. That's for $5. Richard and Brian have done so awesome. I love this channel. I'm really enjoying being on here with Richard. We've had some great calls tonight. So appreciate all the callers, including yourself, Felix. But go on with what you were saying.
All right. So basically, as to how magic works, if I could explain how magic works, it wouldn't be magic. It would be science. You could say like X causes effect Y every time, and this is a principal certainty.
So can you give us an example of this magic then?
Okay. Like, say I want someone to reach out and call me. I would practice a ritual to make them think about me. when practicing that ritual, generally that person will call me within 24 hours.
Right.
So,
I have a friend who pretty much every time I phone her says, I knew you were going to call me. But I speak to her quite often. It's not out of the ordinary. It seems to hear like we're applying positive discrimination. How can you demonstrate?
If they call you all the time, that's not really something that you would need to do ritual to create.
We've just had a super chat come in. Philip Leitch has just asked the same question I was just about to ask you. So we're going to, I'll ask it on his behalf, seeing as he's very kindly paid $5 to ask it. Demonstrate that even a non-skeptical person can have an effect on anything with magic.
Demonstrate? It doesn't work like that. It's not a parlor trick. There are some people who have been advanced enough to be able to do that. I am not one of them. Aleister Crowley, for example, was Crowley has this famous instance where he started moving like a man who was moving across the street, walking in that same manner. And then he caused that man to fall through his own actions by changing them. And he was across the street from the person. Now, whether or not you want to believe that happened is completely up to you, but that would be an example of a demonstration. Now that person is a really deeply intensive, that's the only thing that he does with his life is study magic. Or did with
Can
his
it really
life
be said
study
to be a
magic.
demonstration if it's down to whether you believe it or not, though? Surely a demonstration by its very nature is something that would be shown whether you believe it or not. If I ask you to demonstrate that you can shoot a target at 300 yards, there's a way to do that, and that's by shooting a target at 300 yards. It's irrelevant whether I believe that you can do it or not. If you demonstrate that you can do it, then I'm convinced.
Well, I don't know how I would demonstrate something like that over the phone without any intention of wanting it. Part of the thing about magic is you have to have some focus. And focusing on something like a parlor trick is not, at least for me personally, is not going to be anything that's going to cause me to get that sense to where I am trying to surrender my personality into the universe enough to have my will become effective.
Surrender your personality in the universe so that your will becomes effective. Talk me through that statement.
Okay. When you perform a ritual that, especially more intense rituals, some rituals are fairly light and they're just good luck, whatever. But to perform a long ritual that's very specific, you're going to usually cause yourself to enter into a different state of consciousness. And in that state of consciousness, the idea is that you're surrendering parts of your individuality by accepting the fact that you are not, by accepting the fact that you're not alone as a spiritual entity.
You sounded very much like meditation now.
Pardon?
You sounded very much like you're talking about meditation.
Do you practice meditation, Felix?
Do I practice meditation as well? Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But
so
when
then
I
you could tell us what the
meditation,
differences are.
I'm thinking of a question or a problem or something of that nature. Ritual tends to be a way to lower your defenses as far as how you perceive the world, how you believe what is possible and what is not possible. And the idea of ritual is to get past those parts of you that cause that skepticism, that cause that doubt, that also war within yourself, because you can't create a good ritual if you're stressed or upset or feeling torn about things.
I'm still not seeing anything that I don't recognize from meditation. Yeah, I appreciate you trying to explain it, and I appreciate it's quite a difficult thing to explain, but I'm still not seeing any specific language or any specific hints that it's anything other than meditation that you're talking about.
Ritual comes across a lot like a psychodrama too, like an enacting some sort of demonstration of what you're wanting to happen, or something symbolic of what you want to happen, and just going through those steps while you're in that sort of mindset. Is that right?
That's a very good description. Yeah. Like, okay. Especially if you're doing like something sumatragic or Rudon or something like that, where you're literally working with a symbol that you wish to affect that represents an object or a person.
All right, let me let you and Richard respond to you here, and then you get the last response on that, and we got to wrap up for the night. So you boys go at it.
No, I don't think there's any going out. It's been a very good conversation, which I've appreciated. I'd love to talk to you again. I'd love to have more time on this conversation. I want to get past this this barrier I've got with what you're saying, and I'm not for 1 minute suggesting that it's anything. It's not you. It's me. I'm just not getting past this barrier. I want to get past this barrier that I'm having with the things you're saying. So I'd love it if I'm on again, if you could call back and talk to me again about it.
It would be my absolute pleasure. You've been a joy to talk to. I like it when I talk to people who are not hostile, but inquisitive.
Thank you. We appreciate you as well. Thanks.
I would say the main difference that I see between meditation and ritual is that usually meditation does not involve physical activity. With the exception of people who use things like analogous, sort of lyrically, like, someone reads the cards as meditation. But generally, because a ritual requires timing and requires some preciseness, it's not quite the same as meditation, or at least it's not the same as meditation that I learned like through martial arts or through yoga.
Okay. This is a conversation I'd love to continue. I really hope you phone back again if I'm on the show again. It'll be really nice to speak to you again.
Oh, would absolutely be my pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Felix, we look forward to your call back. You have a nice night.
You too, guys.
Thanks.